what's going on in the country today, and we're going to get to that. But how do you feel that you are perceived? How do you perceive that you are perceived as a person, as a politician, as a leader of a political party in the Bahamas? How would you say you're perceived by people?
I think people are accustomed during the last 10 years of the Hubert Ingram type style politics, a more aggressive type politics. You must remember that I have medical training background, and therefore I'm one that more listens, one that analyzes and then make decisions. So I'm more of an analytical type politician, that when we make decision, you're making a decision with all the analysis having been done and incorporating a lot of different individuals' advice and their input. I am not the aggressive type politician. I am one that would seek result. I have a combination of both Ingram and Christie, in that the Ingram part of me would be result oriented, and when you look at both of them, with my medical background and my growing up, would have that compassionate type, that loving and caring for people, listening to them, listening to their concern, and trying to address their concern without necessarily jumping out there rah 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 rah. But you're result oriented, and that's what I'm more result oriented, not an inactive person, a very action oriented person.
But you would realize that a lot of people perceive you as too laid back, as not as aggressive as you should be as the leader of the opposition, and forthright and demanding. I suppose it's a hard thing to follow, to come behind the Hubert Ingram style of that aggressive, bullheaded kind of dogmatic approach, and that kind of way. Some people almost say that very biggity way. I see you as different. I made the argument on this show a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, about when I was analyzing the politicians and the kind of people that we're looking at. And I suppose I did say along the lines that Dr. Minnis is more of a kind of consensus politician, pretty much like Christie, thorough in trying to find out and seeking advice and making a decision. But the personality of Dr. Minnis is one that I know Dr. Minnis to be a person who really looks to people for help and that kind of thing. But you are misunderstood, I believe, and that's why I asked you, how do you perceive that people perceive you? Do you think that they perceive you as laid back, as can't get the job done? I mean, be frank with me, because the only way that we can get beyond the whole idea as to who Dr. Minnis really is, what is he really all about, is for people to understand who you really are and how you see yourself being perceived by them.
No, I think people for the past 10, 15 plus years, people would have been accustomed to Ingram. And therefore that is what they know. And everything would be compared to him.
I see.
But I am, to put it in a nutshell, I would consider myself a very decisive, consultative, result-oriented, focused, and compassionate individual. And most important, result-oriented, so that I know that I'm going to do something positive for you. I don't necessarily believe in just giving you this, that, with no form of responsibility. I believe in creating opportunities for you so that when I'm off the scene, you can fend for yourself and move on, and you can do the same for your family, so that your family is in a better position. But if I were to give you with no responsibility, the issue is your family would subsequently possibly fail, because you're not accustomed to pushing them also. They would have grown up in an environment where things were given to you, and they would expect the same, as opposed to in an environment where you were given an opportunity. You would be more inclined to ensure that your family, your brothers, your sisters, your kids are given similar opportunity. And so that they would be able to fend themselves and be in a better situation, not only here in the Bahamas, but if they chose to go to the US or any part of the world, they would be able to survive.
Dr. Minnis, you have accomplished many things as an individual. You're now the leader of the opposition. You've been the leader of the opposition for nearly 20 months. Since the loss of the Free National Movement in 2012, in May, you were the new person ushered in, democratically elected, and you are now the leader of the opposition. Do you think that, and how do you think that you're perceived as accomplishing the things that you wanted to accomplish in this particular period. And I ask you that question specifically because of this reason. When you were on the campaign trail during the by-elections of Abaco, Charles Maynard was a part of that, the late Charles Maynard. And he at one point prior to that beginning, when there was a little friction as to what was going to happen, and Maynard was assisting you and so forth and all that, and you all went on the campaign trail, the statement was made by Maynard that we are going to watch Dr. Minnis at least for the next 2 years. And how he measures up in the next 2 years will determine whether or not he'll stay on as the leader of the opposition of the Free National Movement. My question is, have you measured up in your own view, and have you accomplished the things that you set out? And have you been able to beat the obstacles, political obstacles, in that 2-year period running up to the present time?
Well, you know the obstacles that I've encountered. I would say yes, I've beaten the political obstacles. Some of the obstacles I would not even mention. You cannot even imagine. But one must just remain focused. When you come from a great defeat, where your party is now in a lull, where your party now has outstanding debt, etc. Your job really should be to hold that party together, ensure that you do not lose any of your support base, and place your party on the road to success. That should be your job. There are some who would feel that, oh, we just came from England and therefore you should be able to galvanize and have the biggest rally at Fort Charlotte and wherever tomorrow. That don't happen. People are now depressed, people are in a lull, people have, some have given up and wondered, oh, we can't return, we can't come back and whatever else. Your job is to maintain hope for them, then to point to them that no, the party's still together, ensure that everybody remains together, and ensure that they continue to work towards one common goal. Now, individuals may have different agendas, different goals, etc. But you as the leader must always ignore whatever obstacles or whatever pressures are coming from either side, be it side, front, or back. You must ignore that and continue to remain focused, because your focus and your goal is to ensure that your party is ready when every election call. Now, I'm a very proactive individual. I always work with the premise that an election can be called tomorrow, and therefore I prepare in anticipation that should something happen prematurely, I'm never caught off guard. That is your medical training. Your medical training is that you must try and predict what may possibly happen, and therefore have all the points in order so that should anything happen, you would be prepared for it, as opposed to being caught off guard. If you sat back and did nothing and just cried because you're getting blows from the left, blows from the right, blows from the front, and blows from the back, you know, you must just absorb it. I always remember the fight with George Foreman and Muhammad Ali, and you would remember that very well. Muhammad Ali was the underdog. George Foreman was predicted to win. Ali strategized, he planned, he took blows continuously for 10 rounds straight until George Foreman was tired and worn out. Then Ali came out last 2 rounds and just basically pulverized them.
So is that your strategy?
So you must strategize. Yeah. You must strategize in whatever you do, and you must have timelines and goals, objective at each particular timeline. Once you do that, you will have negative and you will have forces from either side. But the point is, you must always remain focused.
You don't seem to be bothered by this whole matter of the challenges, front, left, back, center, challenges coming at you from within, from without. You don't seem to be so rattled by that, though some people perceive that you are. But you don't seem to be today to be rattled by that. Is that a part of the expectation of the strategy?
No, I am not. I am not disturbed by those things. And I think that